Greetings, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel. Today we're going to fire up our Joe and put together some carne asada. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put together the marinade for our meat. So we're going to start out with 1/2 cup of your favorite beer, 1/2 cup of orange juice, 3 tablespoons of lime juice, about 1/4 cup of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1½ teaspoons of black pepper, 1½ teaspoons of dried oregano, 5 cloves of minced garlic, 2 bay leaves, and 1 sprig of fresh rosemary. And we're just going to give that a quick mix. Okay, the next thing I've done here is I've taken some slices of red onion and set them in the bottom of a 9x13 baking dish. And I'm going to set a flank steak. I've got a 2-pound flank steak that we're going to set right on top of those onions, and then we're going to dump on our marinade right over the top of that meat. And I'm going to actually be careful to get all of that out of there. Don't want to leave much of that behind. And then we're going to sprinkle on some more of that chopped onion. I've got the rest of that onion that we chopped up, and we're going to put it right over the top of this. And then I'm going to cover that up, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator to let it marinate for a minimum of 4 hours. Or you can let it go as long as overnight. And what I'm probably going to do is every couple hours as I come by, I'm going to flip the meat over. So we're going to cover that up, let it marinate, and then we'll be back. The next step in our process, we're going to make an aioli. I'm going to use one 8-ounce container of sour cream. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic, and then maybe a squirt about like that of sriracha. Give it a little kick. We're going to give this a good mix, and then we're going to put that back in the refrigerator. First thing we're going to do is we're going to fire up our classic. I've got all my charcoal piled up over onto the left hand side of the grill, and we're going to set up today for a little bit of 2-zone cooking. I'm going to light up 2 of our Kamado Joe fire starter cubes on the left side here, and we're going to let this burn with the lid open here for about 10 minutes. Okay, after we get our fire started, I'm going to set my divide and conquer flexible cooking system in place here, and I'm set up here for some 2-zone cooking. I've got my heat deflector in the low position on the right side, and I've got one of my Half Moon grill grates in the low position on the left side, and my other half of the grill in the elevated position on the right side. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to close the dome. I'm going to leave the bottom vent fully open, and I'm going to leave the daisy wheel fully open, and I'm going to close the top vent about halfway. We're going to let this grill get up to about 500 to 550 degrees in the dome temp. And while our grill's coming up to temperature, I have taken those onions that we put in our marinade, and I've put these guys in a little small cast iron Dutch oven that I've got. We're going to put these on here and give them a kind of a head start. We're going to cook these onions down. I've drained the liquid off of the marinade, but I've left all that seasoning and whatnot behind with these onions. So we're going to cook those down also, and we're going to use those as part of this dish.
Let's put that bad boy on the grill.
Okay guys, our grill's nice and hot. We've got a dome temperature here of about 500 degrees. So I am going to put this steak on here on the hot side, and we're going to char it up real good on both sides. I'm going to go probably for 2.5 minutes a side to start with. Okay, we've been going 2.5 minutes, somewhere 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. We're going to flip this guy over. Okay, we just flipped it over, so we are going to let it cook a little while on that side. And I'm also going to give these onions in this little cast iron pot a little stir while we're going here. And then we'll get the lid closed back up and let that sear off a little longer. Okay, we've been going for another 2.5 minutes or so. So I'm gonna flip this guy back over again. We're gonna give it another minute or so on each side before we move it to indirect. Okay, Time to burp the grill here a little bit and go for another flip. And I'm also going to check the temperature here. It's about 115, so it's about ready to go to the other side of the grill here in just a moment. Okay, I'm about finished with the sear stage on this flank steak for this carne asada, so I am going to move it over to the indirect side of the grill, and we're going to let that stay right over there until we get up to about 125 to 130 degrees internally. And these onions are just about ready too. I think I'm going to go ahead and take them off. Okay folks, I believe this bad boy is ready. So I'm going to take it off the grill, we're going to take it inside and let it rest for a few minutes, and then we're going to go on to the taste. Okay guys, I've taken this guy and we've sliced it up. I've been slicing it kind of on the diagonal, trying to get a nice set of thin cuts of this, and I've got a pretty nice medium rare cook here on this, so I'm not going to cut the entire piece up. I'm only going to make one of these, but let's put one of these together. The first thing I'm going to do is take a flour tortilla, and I'm going to put on a little bit of the aioli that we made this morning from the sour cream, the garlic, granulated garlic, and the sriracha. We're going to put a little bit of that on the inside of one of these flour tortillas, and then we're going to put some of this wonderful meat right there in the middle of that. We're going to take some of our onions that we cooked in there with that. You can make these any way you want. You can turn this into a taco. You can put all kinds of stuff in there. So we're going to fold that guy up and we're going to have a taste. Okay guys, it's time to tear into this boy while it's hot. So let's see if we can get a bite of this. Man. Folks, this beef is outstanding. It has a beautiful flavor. The sour flavor of the orange juice and lime juice combination is a lot like a Cuban mojo or a mojito or mojo sauce with the garlic in there. Has an absolutely beautiful flavor to that meat from that marinade. I ended up letting that marinade go for about 8 hours, so give this guy a try. Let me know what you think. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/KamadoJoe. Follow us on Twitter @KamadoJoe. And until next time, this is John Setzler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.